My sisters, some of us survived, showing them that we are still alive. Do you remember the days of slavery? History can recall, history can recall. History can recall the days of slavery. Oh, slavery days.
Peace. In the name of His Imperial Majesty, the Emperor Haile Selassie. I am the Rastafari, I'm an I for the Underground News Network. You are now in tune on the One, the Force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. It is my intent here to show you or give you a view of the comprehensive chart of time. It was in the year, well, slavery started in America via Jamestown, Virginia in about 1619. From 1619 until the year 1930, we were pretty much without any kind of consensus, without any kind of cohesive awareness. Around 1619, we began our plight as slaves in America, taken from Africa, some of us. There were some of us already here. We were scattered all over the globe. But the slavery, the scenario of slavery started in 1619. Different people from different tribes brought together by destiny, divine decree, under one experience, a multiplicity of sundry experiences, different tribes not knowing each other's language and customs, brought to the shores of North America under one umbrella. We are now one people. 311 years after 1619, the force of life, God, you may call it, sent to the black man in the wilderness of North America two redemption movements. One under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Nation of Islam, and the other movement, the Rastafari, under the subtle majesty of His Imperial Majesty, the Emperor Haile Selassie. For 311 years, we were chattel slaves with no concept of unity. It was as though God had forsaken us. In the 1920s, there was Marcus Garvey. Even if we go back to the time of slavery, there was Nat Turner. There was always an insurrection. There were always great men who stood up. But 311 years after the first ships landed in Jamestown, the gods, Anunnaki, sent us two redemption movements. One movement, Nation of Islam, had symbolically 60 years to put out their teachings, symbolic of the 6,000-year rule of the Aduma created by the Anunnaki in the beginning of time. That 60 years was up in the year 1990. The number 6 is very significant and very symbolic. The Enigma star Sirius show us the number 6. The small star, Sirius B, the heaviest star of them all, rotates around the large brightly star Sirius A every 50 years. The Dogon and Mali celebrate their Sigu feast every 60 years. And they say the reason that they do it is to renew the earth. So if it rotates around every 50 years, and the Dogon says they celebrate their feast, celebrating that star rotation every 60 years, and we ask why, and they say they do it to renew the earth. So a prophecy was written in the Great Pyramids that on May 5th, the year 2000, 5 major planets would be aligned with the earth. That makes 6 for the first time in 6,000 years, and that would send trillions of tons of ice and water sweeping over orb shift Earth. The Ross I shift broke off in the year 2000, 12 years from the year 2012, the culmination of the polarized shift. So we see the 5 naked eye planets align with the earth. That's 6. Remember Noah, and the story goes in the Bible, he was 600 years of age when the floods came. So we see the 6 there. In the 21st century, back to number 6, the resonant number of Sirius is the number 23. In the 21st century, there were 6 years that resonated with the number 23, i.e. 1949, 1958, 1967, 1960, 1976, 1985, 1994, i.e. 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 4 equals 23. That's a resonant number of Sirius. So, in the belt of Orion, there are 3 stars. These are the 3 wise men who saw the bright shining star and led them to the birth of Jesus. These 3 stars point directly to the constellation Sirius. So, the scenario that we're playing out here on orb shift Earth right before the year 2012 is written in the stars. The movements of the stars were calculated and then translated into poetry, allegory, metaphor, and similes. We have our scriptures. If we would note that Surah 49, Holy Quran, i.e. Surah 51, Holy Quran, the light, in verse 49 it says, and he, Allah, is Lord of Sirius, the Egyptian dog star. That's verse 49. We would note that Sirius A and Sirius B does a double helix type orbit around each other every 49.9 years. Sirius B every 49.9 years. And it says in the Quran, Allah is as close to you as your jugular vein, meaning that the Anunnaki created the human. The rotation of Sirius A and B makes a DNA type signal as it rotates. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. This is a Kabbalistic wisdom of the black man. And for all the sun-dried movements, it's time to come under one umbrella with one consensus. The poles are shifting. So we need to come to a consensus. What are we to be doing? What are we to know? This information is with the Underground News Network. I am Editor-in-Chief, Underground News Network. I. We invite you to our website, www.unn13.com. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming.
Together, since we were 5, she was so pretty, Emma was a star in everyone's eyes. And when she said she'd be a movie queen, nobody laughed. A face like an angel, She could be anything. Emily, Emily, I'm gonna write your name high on that silver screen. Emily, Emily, I'm gonna make you the biggest star this world has ever seen. At 17, we were wed and worked day and night to earn our daily bread. And every day Emma would go out searching for that play that never, ever came her way. You know, sometimes she'd come home so depressed. I'd hear her crying in the back room, feel so distressed. And I'd remember back when she was 5, to the words that used to make Emmeline come alive. It was Emily, Emily, I'm gonna write your name high on that silver screen.
Peace and salutations. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself at this time. We call it the Master Blaster Jamming. I am your host, Underground News Network, Aytol Ayman. This is the comprehensive chart of time, part 2, from 1930 to 1930 until 2009. I believe we have 79 years. The two redemption movements, the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Rastafari movement. These were the two movements given to us by the hands of time that we pull ourselves up from slavery. From the inception of slavery in the United States, it was always our plight to become free. Thus we had individuals and we had movements, organizations who tried. We had the Panthers, we had certain people, Angela Davis, who had an idea and put that idea into action. A lot of the people that rose up, they did it because they felt the need to. It was in our mass consciousness as a people now being one people in a similar situation, pulled from different tribes, different families, different backgrounds, different religions even. But America made us one people. We had sun-dry movements for the last 79 years, since 1930. There has not been a consensus. We had those two movements, the Nation of Islam and the Rastafari. Many other movements have copied those two movements, have copied those blueprint movements. Many other movements have came out of those movements. Many other movements have been inspired by those movements, which is the foundation. By the hand of time, the Nation of Islam was given 60 years, which is symbolic of the 6,000-year rule of the Aduma, Satan, or the ruling class, Illuminati, that is ruling now. So Dr. Farad Muhammad, in all his wisdom given to him by Allah, he set a mechanism into the format of the Nation of Islam where their teachings would be over at 1990. They had a 7-year grace period, and the Minister Louis Farrakhan came up, conceived the ideas of the Million Man March. This wisdom is now exhausted. We have now moved into the wisdom of the Rastafari. The teachings of the Underground News Network is the Master Blaster Jamming, which is a Kabbalistic wisdom that's inside of our music. The current rulers of the world, with the help of their poets, this is how they rule the world. Their poets sat down and conceived concepts, ideas, precepts, etc. They studied their Kabbalistic wisdom, it that was handed down esoterically, occultly, word of mouth, or telepathically. This is the wisdom of the Anunnaki. This is the wisdom of the scriptures, a understanding of the allegory, metaphor, and the simile. So we have the movement coming up out of the Rastafari, the prophet Bob Marley, who was cut down at 36 years of age. When Bob Marley was taken out of the scenario, rap was ushered in. Rap is the Antichrist. That's the first time a lot of you heard this, but rap is a tool of the Antichrist. You can say rap is the Antichrist as the Rastafari, the reggae music, the true reggae music, the Chunai Bengi music that was given to us by the prophet Bob Marley. That esoteric message was the Christ message. It was the message of the Anunnaki. It was a message of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, who has chased his lineage all the way back to the Anunnaki from Nibiru. This is our ancient Egyptian wisdom, the ancient wisdom that came out of Samaria. This is that wisdom. You are now in tune on the One, the Force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. We tell you that we are concerned, as you hear us say, we must come together and form a consensus. This consensus agreement, we must know what we are to do, follow that blueprint, which is laid down in the esoteric teachings of the Underground News Network. You can find that at www.unn13.com. Again, this is part 2 of the comprehensive chart of time.
I'm gonna make you the biggest star this world has ever seen.
Just as it was in the beginning, it is written, so shall it be in this time. As I've often said, the most pressing issue in the world today is the culmination of the already now polarized shift. So this message of Underground News Network is the key. Key being, it is the vehicle to get off of the planet. A lot of us cannot see this. Think about it. NASA leaves the planet almost every day. So if NASA can leave the planet, why can't its people leave the planet? We're at a state of pandemic right now. People are not yet panicking, but we predict by fall we will have a reason to panic. But prepare yourselves now. This is the SOS. You are now in tune on the One, the Force itself. At this time, the Master Blaster Jamming is called.
Got me wife so easily. Just a bridge. Oh, where there's a will, there's always a way. Where there's a will,
Peace and salutations. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. I am your host for the Underground News Network, I. You are listening to part 3 of the Comprehensive Chart of Time. It was preached and taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that the white man's time was up in the year 1914. Save Allah allotted him more time. Here we will get the clearer meaning of what he meant by this when he knew very well that the 6,000 years allotted was not up. Then why did he say the devil's time was up in 1914? Save Allah in all his wisdom gave him more time. First, we will now read a passage from the book The Ultimate Frontier. The passage is called What is Armageddon? It is a series of wars, or more exactly, one war with pauses, which began in 1914 and will grow more destructive and vicious as this century draws to its close and go into the 21st century. Armageddon's violent culmination will take place about a year before the year 2012. It's a major instrument of judgment, Armageddon is. Now, note, 1914 will give now a better understanding of Armageddon and what the world wars are. See, we're waiting on everybody saying, oh, World War III is coming up. The objective here in my intent is to cause out that you see that we're waiting on things that are already here. If we notice what Armageddon is, the series of wars, it's exactly one war with pauses that started in 1914. So we were into World War I started in 1914. That's the beginning of Armageddon. Okay, so we notice that if we rearrange the 14, turn around, we have 1941. That was 27 years later. So we notice that the world wars come at 27-year intervals. So in 1941 there was World War II. So 27 years later, 1965, there's another small war, Vietnam. It started in 1965 and ended 65, 66, 67, 68. 3 years it ended. So from 1968, at the ending of Vietnam, to the next 27 years is 1995. So 1992. So we see in there we have like Operation Desert Storm. Then 1995 we had this conflict. So we're in World War III, and we're almost reaching the culmination with the war in Iraq. We're almost reaching the culmination of Armageddon. So whatever happens from now with Iran, Korea, who knows? That's the culmination of Armageddon, like the poles start shifting in the year 2000. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter, 5 major planets, for the first time in 6,000 years align with the Earth, which makes it 6 planets. The Ross Ice Shelf broke off at the South Pole. Ever since then, a lot of other shells have been breaking off, and things are happening there in Antarctica. So it's like a man who's falling from the Empire State Building. He started falling in the year 2000. He won't hit the ground until 2012. Okay, so we know that Armageddon is a series of wars. We're sitting here waiting on the conspiracy theories, and we're sitting here waiting on World War III, and we're in World War III right now. So from right now, 2009. We're just 390 years up from chattel slavery. You know, slavery started at Jamestown. The ships came over. There was actually 20 people on that ship, chattel slaves brought over under the apprenticeship program. They were to be furnished transportation, a good meal, a place to sleep, and education. That's what slavery was intended to be, but a few slaves ran away, I heard, and they captured them. It was just one black slave, and they captured him and let the whites go free. They said, we're going to keep the niggers forever. So slavery got like what we heard about it. That's the way it was. So from 1619 until now, it's just 390 years from slavery. So we hadn't been here long, you know. We still got this thing on our mind. What happened to us? It's on our mind. So America was just 1619. There was slavery. So America still wasn't formed yet. So 1776, America became America. So from 1776, it's just 233 years right now. 233 years, this is probably somebody living right now that can remember exactly what happened. So it's relatively new. Like Rome was. Rome lasted a while. The ancient Maya civilization from 600 AD until BC, 600 BC until 900 BC, just 300 years. Just 300 years. So we see that civilizations don't last long. So America is just 233 years right now, and in 2012 it'll be 236. So Rome lies in ruin now as symbol of what is going to happen to America. So what has happened to us? We got millions of people spitting lyrics, spitting wisdom, spitting this. Everybody's saying this, everybody's saying this. So much thing to say, but we don't come together and form a consensus. What are we to do? Nobody out there has the answer. UNN 13 is only the Republic of Rastafari is the only people that's saying the answer, my friend, is the music. The message is in the music, sound vibration. We're the only people telling us, okay, the poles are shifting. We got to get off the planet. We say contact Nibiru through the Kabbalistic wisdom that's handed down in the crop circles and through the music. It's at my website, unn13.com. There has been a psychosis set in. Okay, look, we can't come to a consensus. Okay, there's this mental disorder characterized by symptoms of delusion, hallucination, schizophrenia, and paranoia. Slavery did it, okay? Let's say slavery did it, but look, millions of people coming from a country, different tribes, different families, under one circumstance, America, that makes us one tribe of people. All these religions have to drop what they're doing and come sit to the table, and let's put everything that happened together as a collage or a puzzle. Let us see what it says. In that formula, we will know what to do and how to do it. That's the consensus we need to come to now as black people. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we are telling you that we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. There is so much trouble in the world, and it's time for us now to get this thing together. Yes, I. Peace and salutations. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call the Master Blaster Jamming. Keeping in line with the Mother Discourse, the Comprehensive Chart of Time. This is a Comprehensive Chart of Time number 4. This is very difficult. I didn't realize it would be this difficult, but such is learning. Is Haile Selassie God? No. Haile Selassie is not God. God dwelled within me as me. He dwelled within you as you. Everything from atoms to the largest star is He. It is a collective. It is a collective consciousness. Haile Selassie does not fill the void. He is not dark matter. He is not the black hole. He is not the Milky Way. He is not Hunab-Ku. He is a man born on earth, a direct descent of the original kings of the earth. From the time of Adam, the created being by the Anunnaki, Haile Selassie come from that lineage. Okay? Exodus, movement of Jah people, the movement back to Africa. The Exodus is not a pivotal reality. Nibiru makes a 3,600 degree, 3,600 year elliptical orbit. It's closer now. You can see it from Arizona. You can see it from Antarctica. They are looking at it now in Antarctica. The closer it gets to the Earth, the more we feel it. The sun cycle is reaching a peak now. The electromagnetic energies from the sun is causing the tidal waves, earthquakes, tsunamis, infant mortality rates, mass murders, crime, everybody just going crazy, wearing their pants down. Back in the day when X marked the spot, Generation X, crisscross, caps on backwards, pants down. Okay, now it's possible that Haile Selassie will be returning. They might have took him up like they did Enoch. I don't know. It's possible, but Haile Selassie is not God. Oh, some of the rosters could deal with that, because some of the older rosters made it confusing. These young brothers think that Haile Selassie is God, and talk about the rainbow throne room. I'm blaspheming and I won't make it in the rainbow throne room. What the hell that is. But we'll deal with that at some other time. We got to move on. Okay, sound vibration. Everything was created by sound vibration. The Bible, it says, when the Christ returned, he will return with a shout. Okay, in the 1969, right after Woodstock, the 6 hadn't gone beyond the 9 yet. We're still in the 20th century. A group of scientists, a group of men, producers, promoters, conceived an idea that they would celebrate their art, the art of the counterculture. They would bring all these hippies they were called, together and let them sort of vent, sort of make a prayer to God. You know, how just bring all their funkiness to God, get buck naked and dance in front of God, say, here we are, God, we're your children, take us higher. Somebody know that when two or more gather in one place, truth is there. So Woodstock took the nation through the counterculture. Remember that word, counterculture. Rastafari is supposed to be a counterculture. So we're supposed to be leading this revolution now. So 18 years later, a guy named Jose Orgules, that's not how to pronounce his last name, but his name is Jose. He wrote this book called The Maya Factor, Path Beyond Technology. Okay, he told us to look at the Maya and what the Maya was doing and what the Maya was saying. Thank you, Jose. But still, we know, somebody know that there should be a coming together of people in ritual, as Jose did. Everybody came out praying, playing on instruments. You know how white people do, they jumping all around, and they, the gay people, the people that's into the earth, they think if they dance around or do something that the earth will be healed. It's too far gone now, but they know you got to come together. But two or more together, it's in the air. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. Okay, 1995, we had the first Million Man March. Okay, note, the Nation of Islam, its time is over. 60 years was ended in 1990, was symbolic of the 6,000 years the devil had to rule. Dr. Farad Muhammad, through their liturgies, this book was written by uh, Wallace Muhammad. The book is called, check this book, search for this book, call the nation, get this book. It's called As the Light Shineth from the East. It shows the time is up of the nation of Islam. Okay, so what was that? 1995 Million Man March, not Million Black Man March, but Million Man March. They say that it was for the atoning. The Million Man March was a mass political demonstration held in the United States. Okay, October 16, 1995. The black men were, it was an effort for black men to convey to the world a different view of them. You know, black men were viewed as no good fathers, faggots on the down, low pants, sagging, caps turn around backwards. So they want the white folks to know, okay, we're good niggers. Farrakhan conceived a political ploy because it was a political demonstration. It wasn't anything spiritual. He mentioned a tone, but it wasn't do, re, mi, fa. It wasn't like, okay, we're going to come out here, we're going to have this knob binging, we're going to make these sounds, and we're going to signal to God, we're going to make a petition, we're going to evoke God to come down and save us from the pole ship. It wasn't that. So what was it? Okay, about the vote, rock the vote, rock the vote. It was a political strategy. Okay, that's gone. We can't do that. Okay, summits. Hip Hop Summit, Rap Summit, Nation of Islam, 12 tribes, Tribes of Israel, Black nationalists, whatever you decide to call yourself. I want to say one thing before I go on into that. Farrakhan himself, I went to Chicago back some time ago when Florida was on fire. Farrakhan just had met with the Ayatollah on a fact-finding wisdom tour. I came there on a certain spiritual vibration. It's all recorded. You have the money to finance this. Let's go to Stevie Wonder before they kill him, before he died of natural causes. Let's go to him where he can redeem himself, where he can fulfill his soul, what he came to earth to do. We got to help the man is blind. He come to earth to do a certain thing, certain work. We got to have the master blaster jamming. That is come together in harmonic convergence, like Woodstock tried to show us, a shadow before the real thing. What Jose tried to show us in the harmonic convergence. What the crop circles is trying to tell us now. Come together like Joshua did around the wall of Jericho with sound vibration, not the phony Million Man March. Okay? Farrakhan said he had a vision, and I believe he went up to the mountain there with Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad told him to do something. What did Elijah Muhammad told him to do that he hadn't did yet? That is what I'm talking about now. Call down the mothership. Let them know. Had the concert in square in the circle, esoterically. The master blaster jamming sent out the sound. The mothership know that we're ready. Okay, we understand. We understand the covenant, and we're ready to leave the planet. Okay, this is the wisdom of the Rastafari movement. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the master blaster jamming. Now that enough time has come, you can see clearly now. All the clouds are gone. We know the Million Man March didn't do anything. We don't see any results of it now. Let us have the real Million Man March, the real, not marching. The day of the march is over with. This is a harmonic convergence coming in together with a scientific plan. Let's come, Farrakhan, come sit down and reason. Let's go get Russell, all the big moguls with the money, the triads, if they want to be a part of it, whoever, it don't make a bit of difference. White folks, we all in this thing together. We all want to go down together. Everybody. So we got to do this. If we don't, black people, Sojourner Truth died in vain. All the black revolutionaries died in vain. Now, I'm about to make this thing short. I'll get back with you on some things. It might not be on this level when I come back, but this has been the comprehensive chart of time. We know what we got to do now, so let's do it. Greetings and salutations of peace. We have all heard the false flags and different methods of distraction used by the governments of the world to remove the populace attention from the important issues and viable solutions to problems. We have also heard the phrase, the dumbing down of America. As we reach the end of the very graphic and symbolic year 2016 and reflect in retrospect, we will notice, if we still have eyes to see, the world of revolutionary information distribution has adopted the way of the role model, reality TV. What we are concerned with here are the black conscious communities, especially on the east coast of North America. New York has become the focal point of cultural education and black revolutionary rhetorical knowledge. In this arena, we will find scholars without experience and proper credentials. We have become bombarded with snippets of truth laced with vulgar language and a plethora of other forms of ignorance spewing from the lips of people who are visibly drunk or on some type of mind-altering drug other than food and marijuana. Some are even known criminals. These people have amassed a large following of people who look forward to being entertained. We will also notice that most of or many of our reputable visible Afrocentric scholars and information distributors have died off like dinosaurs by way of mystery or by natural causes, leaving room for the fallout of the atomic gangster rap and the hip-hop bomb that exploded around the death of Tupac Shakur 20 years ago. There are few left today who can hold a candle to the likes of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, Brother Dale Jones, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, our great brother Steve Coakley, Maurice White, Michael Jackson, Prince, just to name a chosen few. Some will argue that it's time to go forward. I agree with that sentiment, but the fact remains there is no consensus, and this stagecoach has become uncontrollable and out of control. In the short nick of time that we have, we must pull the reins of these wild horses in and control the stagecoach and direct it to the destiny, not our fate, but to our destiny. There's a great difference. My work over the past 36 years is the consensus as written in the Holy Book of Wonder, which it is now available for you to order. This is not entertainment, and we notice you have spent millions and millions of dollars on entertainment. You have supported people who have not been worthy, have not earned the right to be supported because you like entertainment. There are things that are happening now in the world. It is apropos that I bring this message to you in this discourse called The Comprehensive Chart of Time. It was my wish to cause out that you see the progression and the proliferation from the inception of the YouTube in the year 2007. Some will argue it was time for them to go. But yes, I agree. We must move on. But who do we have to take their place? And I look in the comment section of some people such as the Polites, the Brother Polites, the Saranetas, the Sarasun Setis, the Young Pharaoh, and people like that down in New York. And I've heard one woman say that she traveled for miles just to go see a debate. And there was one woman out of Canada that was fixing to get a young lady out of Canada that was trying to put together some type seminar or some type gathering for those brothers. And she said she had to admit that she liked to be entertained, that she liked Young Pharaoh. And entertainment is just not going to do it. We're going to have to come together and have a consensus and face the reality. I'm talking to those who understand and those who know the importance of this hour. So this discourse is called the comprehensive chart of time. So I wanted you to see, we're going to cut this part of the discourse short, but I wanted you to see the start from when YouTube first came online, 2007, and the message that I started delivering at that time and around the year 2009 when Obama was setting into office until this time. So I want you to hear what that sounded like and see what that looked like and my progression with this message. And it has been consistent all this time. Maybe there were a few things that I didn't understand back then, but now since all the information is together, we will present that in the rest of this discourse. So we want you to bear with it. This is not entertainment. So you that like entertainment, you might not even enjoy this, but this is what is needed at this time. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. As always, we call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming, the comprehensive chart of time. I am your brother, the Rastafari. I talk, Ayman, I. One love. Greetings and salutations of peace. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. I am your brother, the Rastafari. I tall, Ayman, I. We'll start at the year 2000, when Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter align with the Earth for the first time in 6,000 years. On that date, there's a mathematical code written on the walls of the Great Pyramid that said at that time trillions of tons of ice and water will sweep over the planet. So everybody said run to the Grand Canyons, the Four Corners areas, because in the Hopi tradition and the Hopi wisdom, it tells us that the Four Corners will be the safe area, and that's where the Anunnaki took the Hopi underground. The ant people took them underground at the Sapea. So we know that the Four Corners area is a safe area to go when need be, and cataclysms and things of this nature come. So that's what we did. Okay, look, 5 naked eye planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter aligns with the Earth for the first time in 6,000 years. So you have 6 planets there. Okay, it took from the 5th to the 17th. It was a night. The planets made a 19-degree arch it made from the 5th to the 17th. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. 12 days. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12 days it took for them to do that. Okay, so that shows us the number 17. You have 20, the year 2000. We cipher numerology. We just take the zeros off. So few zeros off. So we have 20, 17, 2000. That's 17 years to 2017. Okay, now they say nothing happened. Okay, 2000. 3 months earlier, at March, the Ross ice shelf broke off. The whole part of ice shelf is stretched over 200 miles long. Start moving out into the waters there at the South Pole. Note, they say the South Pole will flip. Okay, note this is Antarctica. Now we know there are a lot of things happening down in Antarctica currently in 2016. So it's enigmatic things going on down in Antarctica now. Okay, so we're showing you these signs. So what happened in the year 2000? That happened in the year 2000. Now, the poles have begun to shift. So people are expecting it to happen suddenly. I thought it would happen suddenly, but I learned
once I ran to the Grand Canyon and went down to Havasupai, 8 miles down under the ground there. Then my spirit started talking to me. I started seeing signs. So I realized that it wasn't going to be right there. And just say, for instance, you're tired of this whole mess and you go up on the Empire State. Let's say you go up on the top of Trump Towers, okay? And you jump off Trump's tower. It's going to take you a few seconds or maybe a minute or so before you hit the ground. Thus, it is happening with the pole shift. It's going on, but it's taking some time. Now, you have a big Earth. Gaia is big, but it's intelligent, and it's talking. If you put everything that's taking place, you'll see it a lot better. You see the tsunamis and the earthquakes and the killings and everything that's going on, you know. So, note that 5, 5, 2000, if we add that, that's 10, and 2000, that's 12. Okay, so now we come to 2012. All right. 7 years later, we come to 12. Okay, all right. Now, at that time, the Maya prophecy states the calendar runs out. Indeed, the calendar did run out. Okay, the calendar ran out. So, 5/5/2000, we're talking about births now, 2012. Okay, our sun aligned with the galactic core, the Maya galactic core, which is called Hunapku, the Milky Way galaxy. There was a bulge. The sun made a bulge like a pregnant woman, and the Milky Way gave birth to the sun. So we're talking symbolically, allegories, metaphors, and similes. Symbolically birthed the sun of the Maya culture. Quetzalcoatl, or the plum serpent, was born. So in my videos, you'll see where I talk about the birth of Quetzalcoatl, the plum serpent, the blue-green bird was in the sun. I talk about that. I saw it in the sun. So what else happened then? We're talking about trays of tons of ice. So we're getting symbols so far. So it hadn't culminated yet. There hadn't been the culmination, but it's taking place. At that particular time, 12/21/2012, the North America was covered 65% with snow. That's a lot of snow. I mean, totally blanketed with snow. America was 65%. So just about every state in the Union was covered with snow. Okay, what else happened to change things as we know it, other than the plum serpent showed up in the sun and the alignment actually happened? Okay, Sandy Hook, all the false flags started happening at that particular time. The major thing that happened that changed things as we know it was same-sex marriage. So we became worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. America became the cage became full of every foul and unclean bird. A lot of people don't agree that that's wrong, but being a sodomite is wrong. The Bible says that. All the Holy Scriptures say that. So we're not concerned about what the people that just want to ride the bicycle till the wheels come off. We're talking about morality. We're talking about reality. We're talking about truth and rights here. Okay, so life did change. The calendar ran out. Okay, now we're still coasting. Things are still happening. So remember, in the year 2012, it pointed to the number 17. When the planets totally lined up, it made a 19-degree elliptical arc, and the number 19 is the code of the Quran. So it happened on the 17th. So 17 years later would be 2017. So what happens in 2017? Okay, we'll go to Revelations 12, and we'll show you what's taking place here in 2017. So we'll go to our Bible, a place for us to see, for everyone to see. Our Bibles. Give me a second here. I'm going to give Revelations 12. It says, "Now a great sign appeared in the heavens, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars." Now, in the year 2017, Virgo, we're talking about the sun-clad woman now, the moon will be at her feet. So I think somewhere in November, I think it was the 14th, Jupiter went into the womb of Virgo. In other words, if Virgo was a woman, Jupiter, the baby, went into her stomach. You know, if you look at the way the constellations are drawn, she's shaped like a woman, right? The symbol. Okay, so Jupiter went into her stomach. So where her stomach would be in the constellation. So 42 weeks or 9 months later, which will be September 23rd, Jupiter will leave. Jupiter will be born. So it says, then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. Okay. It talks about another sign in heaven too, the dragon. So we're talking about Nibiru coming all at the same time. And 12 stars in her crown. So above Virgo will be the constellation Leo. And that will be 12 stars will be in the constellation of Leo. 12 stars. So what this is the symbol of the sign of the coming Messiah, the coming of the Anunnaki, coming of the ships, and the destiny of America is tied into this symbol, this sign, Virgo, because in Washington, D.C., and if you read some of my work at my blog, UN13blogspot.com, you will see that there's videos on there too. We're going to hook these videos up, these discourses on the blog up, where you can, after you get through studying one, you go right to the other, and we advise you to order our book, The Holy Book of Wonder. Then you'll totally get a grasp. It's over 500 or so pages now, The Holy Book of Wonder. But what we're saying is we're going to have a video here to show you what FEMA says and what NASA says about this pole shift ultimately climaxing. But I've been saying this way before they brought the information out to tell you. And I've been putting the same information out for the last 36 years. That's way before the internet. That's way before any white man you ever heard of talking about it. That's before 2007 when YouTube just come out. So everybody's on there talking about what they're talking about now. I was putting it out way before they even thought about putting it out, just like it's been putting out now. So now all of the white information has expired. So now if you look at the face of the Sphinx, you know who you're supposed to be listening to. You're supposed to listen to a black man. The Sphinx are the people that build the pyramids, are the ones that set all this vibration up, and set all this information comes from the ancient Sumerian text, ancient Egyptian text, ancient Maya text. We're talking about Anunnaki. I started before anybody out there ever thought about starting, for the last 36 years. And you will see if you go to the UN13.blogspot.com, if you order the Holy Book of Wonder, just put it in a search engine, Aital Iman, the Holy Book of Wonder, and you know how to order it if you don't read it, if you don't go to the blog and order it. I remember back when we first started our website in cyberspace in the year 2002, it was called the Underground News Network. So I had a webmaster that I recruited from the government itself. I'm high up in the government. I'm not going to say what office and all that she worked in, but it was one of those 3-letter. She heard me talk on the internet, so you know we talked about business in the future. So our website was studied by all the major scientists that you got there now that's talking about this. Very seldom you hear the major scientists talking about it now, but back then they were coming to my website to get information, and they were quoting me verbatim almost on what's taking place. So I just didn't pop up yesterday, and I'm just not out here, you know, like the boys down in New York, you know, entertaining you. This is not entertainment, and it's void of hidden colors. All the colors here are being shown. There are no hidden colors, and I like to tell you that. And this is not Illuminati. I mean, this is from the original Illuminati, the Anunnaki. You are now in tune. On the one, the force itself, at this time we call the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. They get everything from us. Those sissies get everything from us. So, you know, this is not that kind of stuff. This is what we need for our survival, and it's written in a place for us to see. When the children of Israel means the light. We're talking about Cyrus, the original Israelite. We're talking about Cyrus and Nibiru. We're not talking about that fake country, that fake state that they came up with in 1945. It says, when the children of Israel, the children of light, cried out in unison, the God, they say in the Bible it says God, but we know them as Anunnaki. When the children of Israel cried out in unison, the gods remembered the covenant. So it says, by the faith of Noah, we're talking about the boat of safety, the mastery, blaster, jamming. The song states, we're back in the early 80s, we're in the middle of the makings of the master blaster jamming. We're in the middle of the makings of the master blaster jamming, which is like the boat of Noah. We were building the archetypical ark. So now it's complete. It says, when you're moving in the positive, your destination is the brightest star. What's the brightest star? The brightest star is Sirius. We're talking about Hotter Than July was the album, came out in 1980. Hotter Than July, which depicts the dog days when Sirius conjuncts our sun. So the message was in the music. You're now in tune. On the one, the force itself, at this time we call the Holy Mastery Blaster Jamming. So don't think it's not happening. It's been happening. And as this discourse shows you, the comprehensive chart of time shows you, time is winding up. It culminates soon. We tell you to, like Maurice White said in the song Jupiter, keep your eyes on Jupiter, 2017. Also, it's the 100-year anniversary of the prophecy of Fatima. Yes, I am.
If you were terrified by San Andreas, then you will be scared shitless by Mark the Arturian's production of That's Armageddon. With no special effects, you will never forget Mark the Arturian's production of That's Armageddon.
Starts Friday at theaters everywhere. Stay tuned.
I'd say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
2012, big movie came out. So now we have this idea, it happens like that in one day, right? Big cataclysm. Oh, we'll get there, don't worry, but right now it's slow. It's just like you left the water on in the bathtub a little too long, and it's overflowing a little, and it's rising slowly. Then comes 2012 date, and the entire world knew that on 12/21/12, the world was going to end. Dun, 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 that's how it was played out. And the movie 2012 certainly furthered that idea that it was going to all happen in one day, Armageddon, floods, quakes, etc. That it would all happen in 24 hours, one day. And though we will get to those days with great upheavals and cataclysmic events, and if anyone can't see that that's the progression we're going, then we just have been living in a rock or spending too much time on Facebook or watching pet yawning videos. Because when I say 2012 now playing at a corner near you, it doesn't matter where you live on this planet anymore. You know something's going on. Am I right?
Correct. Right.
Because the title is, of course, 2012, now playing everywhere. Or, thank God, it can't happen here.
Thank God that can't happen here. Stay tuned.
In other words, if you took the movie 2012, but you spread it out over 10 years, 2012 is happening now playing everywhere, as Earth's timeline is rapidly approaching event date.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
The polar flip. Apparently the whole thing only lasts about 17 minutes. Then what we'll see is like the movie.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but?
It happens in our lifetime. Otherwise, it serves no purpose for us being here.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. Learn how at ready.com.
A lot of you are familiar with the Mayan stone, which shows the motion of every celestial body in the galaxy for 5,000 years, even though they didn't even have a telescope 5,000 years ago. How'd they do that?
They're from the future.
If you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
They're from the future.
If you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
How poetic.
But they left us this message, which they had to know nobody's going to pay attention to 5,000 years from now. It's why they wrote it in stone, so that it might last until we get here, but still nobody's going to believe it. You know how they knew that? Because they didn't believe it. That would have been halfway between Atlantis and now. The earliest recorded human civilization, the Sumerians, Egyptians, 3100 BC, or one Mayan cycle, 5,127 years ago. Earliest recorded human history. Is that because humans didn't exist before that? No. It's because every piece of recorded history we had before that was wiped out the last time this happened. Was wiped out the last time this happened.
This has been an Earth 2016 special report. I'm Mark the Arcturian. Doom and gloom is next over most of these stations.
I'd say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.